Hi there and welcome to Gaining Vision. I'm Melanie. Have you subscribed to the channel yet? If not, take a second, hit subscribe, and please don't forget to like and share. Dependency is something that has become a very big problem in our world. Why, you ask? Let me explain. As children, we depend on our parents for everything, providing us shelter, food, guidance, and to take care of us. We don't have to do anything except for just have fun and be ourselves. It's great. We're always going to be told what is right and wrong and how we can improve, and we don't have to work a day in our life with our parents. But as parents and adults, we have to know when to start to encourage our children to start to take accountability for themselves. So everything from making sure they make their own bed to doing chores around the house and being accountable for their actions. They do something that they're going to get in trouble for, they need to be punished. There needs to be a consequence. The reason for this is that's the only way that kids are going to grow and know how to be independent versus being dependent. So encouraging them to get a job in the summer when they're growing up, whether it's cutting a lawn, delivering newspapers, babysitting, whatever it may be, is a good thing for a parent to do. Now, sometimes this is a hard thing for parents to let go and cut the cord, as we call it. The reason for it is they're afraid, they want to protect their loved one. But the reality is, if we don't encourage kids to be independent, they're going to continue to be dependent on you forever. If they don't understand about making their own money, they're always going to come to you with their hand out. If they don't understand the value of $1, they're not going to save for that car they want or that great new gizmo, a new phone. If you just give them all these things, they're going to be used to having that. The challenge that comes along with this is kids saying, you have to do this because you're my parent, or parents saying, I have to do this because I want to make sure they have all the things they need. So it needs to be a compromise. When kids get to a certain age, especially, let's say, high school, they need to be accountable. So if they're sick, they should be calling in to tell the school that they're sick and they're not coming to school. And they'll have a note from their parent or doctor when they return. If they need to make a doctor's appointment for themselves, they need to know how to do that. So parents need to teach them these skills. So parents should encourage teaching life skills throughout their early childhood years. Setting the table, doing their own laundry, understanding about paying bills, and of course, simple cooking. Keeping their room clean. All of these things will help encourage independence. Any opportunity for a parent to allow their child to be independent is a good one. It's hard, but as they get older and finally go off to college or university, they're going to be living by themselves for the first time. And if you haven't taught them the skills they need to survive, what's going to happen is they're going to be coming back. Mom, can you do my laundry? Mom, I need money. Mom, Dad, whatever it may be. They're always going to be coming back with their hand out. But if you instill the skills and traits in them about being independent, then they're set to move forward with their life. So think of it this way, even though it's hard as a parent to let go and allow children to be independent, you're setting them up for success for the future. So let's talk about what happens for those people that don't learn these skills and have been dependent on their families forever. There's no motivation to get out there and try to get a job. There's no motivation to get there and make something of themselves because they know they're going to be taken care of by their parents. You hear about all these teenage boys playing video games in the basement of their parents' house, or they're, yeah, Mom, yeah, I'm looking for a job, yeah. But meanwhile, they're sleeping or they're hanging out with their friends and they're really not focused on where they need to go and grow as an adult. Parents can sometimes do a disservice to their children by not pushing them. Everybody knows the saying, tough love. And a lot of times it's used with situation of kids when they're, getting into trouble with the law, stuff like that. But tough love is something we have to do for our kids growing up to let them know that it's not okay to take advantage. It's not okay to just expect things all the time. Because what happens then is extra pressure gets put on the parents to not only take care of themselves and plan for their retirement, but also to take care of their kids as adults. It becomes a vicious cycle. So if a child is never really grown up and lived independently by themselves, taking care of themselves financially, independently, taking care of their decision making, they have no one to hold accountable. Actually, they do. They have their parents because they're enabling them to do nothing. So you want the individual, the child, or the adult child in this case, to understand the consequences. If I don't get a job and I can't pay my bills, I can't have the extra stuff that I want. Or I might have to live in a basement apartment or rent a room until I can afford it. So if you're not teaching skills as a parent to younger kids, it's just going to get stickier and stickier. So then what happens is they continue to come back to the parents, or they go to their siblings, or they go to their friends, or they become involved in a relationship where they expect the partner to take care of them. So this is unfortunately where a lot of abusive relationships stem from, because as somebody being dependent on somebody growing up, you have no self-esteem. You don't feel good about yourself because you're sponging off others. So then you're more likely to fall into an abusive relationship because you want to be taken care of. You want to be depending on somebody all the time. Being dependent on somebody for everything is an awful thing because you have no control over your life, no control over your goals or ambitions. Perhaps it's safer for a lot of people because they're insecure. They don't see their abilities. They don't see what they're capable of. But I want you to think about something. Think about individuals with disabilities that don't have the capability or the luxury of being independent because of their physical or mental disability. It's unfortunate. It's something they don't want to deal with, and they have to be dependent on somebody always. Everybody that has the ability to work, to live independently, should take advantage of it and should do it to the fullest, not only for themselves, but for their family, because you're not a burden, you're not being a responsibility for your aging parents. You're taking on responsibility. You're going to love your life that much more because you're going to be confident, you're going to enjoy to be able to make your own decisions because you're going to be controlling your own finances, not waiting for that handout. Dependency is also not just necessarily on family, but on the system. So a lot of people depend on welfare or disability to survive. And don't get me wrong, there are certain situations that absolutely it has to be there. People that are struggling, going through something that's traumatic or living with a disability and they don't have another option, 100%, that's okay. But people that take advantage of the system when they're capable of going out and getting a job is despicable. So if somebody has 2 legs that work, that can walk themselves to get a job, they have 2 hands that work and 2 eyes that can see, should have a job. You may not want to because you have other issues, or you may feel that you're better than something. There might be other reasons you're telling yourself why you don't have to work, and you can sponge off the system or off your family. The reality is there is no excuse because you're doing yourself a disservice. Because let's just say that family member that's been taking care of you or that system is no longer there. Then what happens? You're stuck. You're alone. You don't have the skill set. You don't have the know-how to go and do something. You've set yourself up for failure by not taking the initiative to learn these skills. As we grow older, as seniors, we become dependent on people again. And the people we become dependent on are those kids that we've raised. But if we have raised our children not to be independent, how are they going to now take on the role of caregiver or provider for the elderly? Do you see the vicious cycle I'm talking about? It's so important for us to promote independence from a young age, to encourage people that are still dependent on their family or their friends or their spouse to take care of them, to recognize their abilities, to see the situation they've put themselves in and how they will never be free and truly happy without that independence. Are you in that situation? Are you dependent on somebody in your life? Is it a temporary thing or is it a long-term thing? Be honest with yourself, because the reality is nothing will change unless you change it. For individuals with disabilities, their goal is independence, whether that's with choice and decisions and getting people to help them out. But for individuals that have no excuse, dependency should not be anything that even exists in your life, because you're only bringing people around you down, you're doing a disservice to yourself, and you're not living life to its fullest. So dig deep, look at your life. If it's yourself or somebody you know that's dependent on somebody, have a candid conversation. Talk to someone, reach out and get help, because obviously there's an underlying issue that's holding you back and keeping you dependent on somebody. You can do so much more and be so much more if you put your mind to it. If you don't have the desire to do it, then you need to examine why that is, because there's obviously something going on. Till next time, think about it, look around, see who you can help today, because reality is we need to help each other to be successful. Sometimes people don't want to hear the hard truth, but sometimes we have to speak the truth. So until next time, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share, and I'll catch you next time.